Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi there, this is Heather.
And we thought today we would change things up a little bit since it's the end of 2021. We wanted to talk about the top 10 oils for us of 2021. So Heather, why don't you get us started? What's number 10?
Okay, number 10, copaiba. This is one that I have used on and off for various different things from stress to pain, but this one really came into play for me in September when they came out with the roller of it. Not that I can't make my own, but I loved the easiness of the roller. And so I had a crick in my neck and a muscle spasm that had just been going on for way too long. I started using that copaiba roller multiple times a day, every single day, and it made such a difference. And so it is one that I immediately turn to if I have that feeling coming on again of that muscle starting to get tight, which it did this morning. So I've also already applied that this morning.
Nice. I love that. I will say as well, I don't use copaiba as often. And yeah, having it in a roller makes such a difference. So I'm super grateful they offer that now. Okay, so number 9 is citrus oils in water. And so this is kind of a broader topic, but this is something I have done consistently throughout the last year. Already, it tastes delicious. So that's a good reason to do it. Number 2, it helps you drink more water. But the third reason why is I read somewhere that drinking citrus oils specifically helps your body produce things that fight off viruses. And so in order to just give my body that extra boost, it's really helpful. I will mention if you do this, you want to make sure that you put your citrus oils in your water and citrus oils in either glass or metal containers, because if you put it in plastic, then it will literally eat through the plastic, or styrofoam. It's crazy how quickly it will eat through that. So you do want to put it in the proper container.
Well, and even in the LaCroix sparkling water bottles, I wasn't thinking initially and my favorite combination is coconut sparkling water with 1 drop of lime. Absolutely love it. Yeah. And I was putting it directly in the can and then finally thought, this probably isn't a great idea either. So now I pour my sparkling water into a glass and then add my oil. But yes, I really like citrus oils in water. I probably don't do it as much as I should, but the lime and the coconut water is the way to go.
Yeah, and I love it specifically in fizzy water as well, but I just do unflavored. But yeah, it's delicious and it's good for you. And another side benefit of it is it helps your body detox. So
excellent. Number 8, this one is broad as well, diffusing wood oils. We love wood oils in our house. My husband diffuses them almost daily when he is working. He feels like it kind of sets the tone for his creative brain to be able to relax and kind of concentrate on what he's been doing. We rotate through which wood oils that we diffuse. Today I have Northern Escape going, and I've blended it with Citrus Bliss, which is a great combo if you haven't tried it. But we'll do a lot of Siberian fir this time of year. It just smells holiday-ish. Balance is another one that we do a lot, but we love diffusing wood oils.
Yeah, I agree. And that combo of wood oil and citrus oil is amazing. So good. Okay, number 7 is rose oil, which is my all-time favorite oil. And rose oil is really interesting because it is actually the most expensive oil that doTERRA sells, but it is 100% worth it. And they sell it in 2 different versions. So they sell it in a pure version, and then they sell it in a roller that has fractionated coconut oil. And what I generally use is, not generally, I literally use every single day the one that's in fractionated coconut oil. For one thing, because it's a little less expensive. Number 2, it's easier to apply. And number 3, coconut oil is good for your face. And I literally put this oil on my face every day. So I have a whole ritual where I look in the mirror and I start off by putting it on my forehead and say, I think loving thoughts. Then I put it around my eyes and I say, I see love all around me. I put it on my cheeks, kind of headed towards my ears, and say, I hear loving words. And then I put it around my mouth and say, I speak love. And then I put it on my throat and say, I breathe in or I take in love. And it's kind of cool because one of the cool things about rose specifically is it's the highest vibration oil and it's the oil of love. So combining these two has really changed my perspective on life, but also it's amazing for your skin. And so I do all of that and then put my moisturizer and some other oils on top of it. But it's been a really lovely daily habit. It's made a huge difference. I feel like my skin is brighter because of it as well. And it just definitely has changed my mindset. Heather, do you use this oil?
I love your ritual for it. And I have attempted that ritual a couple times and I can't ever seem to stick with it. So, and you have beautiful skin. So I feel like I probably need to make a better effort of sticking with it and giving it a try. I do have the fractionated coconut oil one, the roller one, and I'll use it here and there. But I'm super excited that I just recently used my doTERRA loyalty reward points to be able to get the undiluted rose. So if you,
awesome.
Yeah. So if our listeners don't know, one of the perks of becoming a doTERRA member is that you have access to a program called Loyalty Rewards. And with that, you are basically getting a monthly box that you get to customize, but you also get to retain points from those purchases. And so I have been saving up my points. Rose came out, in 2019, I want to say, the undiluted one. So I've been saving up my points and I finally had enough points to buy the undiluted one and I absolutely love it. And the other thing that I was going to say about Rose, when it came out in 2019, they were offering a free drop of Rose at the convention and you could go and get this drop of Rose.
I was just going to say, for people who don't know, like a drop doesn't sound like a lot, but a drop is a lot, especially with this oil. So go ahead and explain why.
Yes. Okay. So potency, but also expense. So I think you mentioned Rose is by far the most expensive oil that doTERRA sells. Yeah. And so when we calculated it, one drop was equivalent to $3. And so we were really impressed that they were just basically giving this to anybody that came in there. I think they eventually ran out and decided to stop. They did not open additional bottles of Rose, but you and I were lucky enough to be able to get this drop. When the drop went on my wrist, I can't say that I loved it. Like it was really, really strong. And it wasn't kind of the soft floral rose scent that we're familiar with. That one drop lasted all day long, which most oils I don't find last that long on my skin. And it got softer as the day went on. 5 or 6 hours later, it was this beautiful, soft scent that we're familiar with Rose. And I was just amazed at how long it lasted and how powerful that one drop was.
Yeah. I still remember that as well. It's crazy how long it lasts compared to other oils. So it's worth every penny or every point if you save up your points.
Yes.
So, totally worth it.
Number 6 is vetiver. So this is an oil that my husband and I use every single night to go to sleep. Vetiver is in the Serenity blend, which is doTERRA's restful blend and encouraged for sleep. I like vetiver by itself. If you've never used vetiver, it is very thick like honey. And the anticipation of waiting for that one drop to hit my skin is part of the process or ritual every single night. So, I hold it up, I get that one drop that I value so much, rub it between my wrists, smell it. And I just feel like it signifies to my brain that, hey, it's time to calm down. We're about to go to bed now. I love vetiver.
Yeah, I love vetiver too. I don't use it every night anymore, but I distinctly remember the very first time I used it. So I bought it, and maybe this wasn't the first time I used it, but the first time I really felt the benefit because I bought it and I love the smell. Like it smells like a good grounding but perfume smell. I think it's lovely. But I didn't really know what to do with it. So I didn't use it for a long time. But maybe 6 years ago or so, at the time, both my husband and I were in secure corporate jobs. And my husband told me that he wanted to quit his job and become a voice actor. And the idea of losing the security really freaked me out. And he gave me like a timeline and we had the conversation and then he wanted me to give the okay within a certain amount of time. And so for good 2 weeks, I didn't sleep because every time I laid down, all I would think about was our expenses and how we're going to afford this. And it was just overwhelming. And then somewhere I read that vetiver connects to the part of the brain that has basically the little hamster running through the wheel. and that it shuts that part of the brain down. And that's why it's so amazing for sleep. And so I, that night, took vetiver and rubbed it on the bottom fleshy part of my big toes, because that connects to your brain. And I had the best sleep of my life. Like, it totally worked to shut down that part of my brain. Maybe 3 nights into doing that, I finally had enough sleep where my brain was actually functioning well enough for me to realize that we could totally afford for my husband to quit his job and pursue his dreams. It was life changing. It literally changed our life, this one oil, but because I was able to shut down the hamster wheel and get enough rest to have clarity of mind to figure out that we could totally pursue our dreams. And it's so funny now because at this point we've both quit our corporate jobs at a totally different point. But I mean, this oil literally changed our life. So I love it.
So good.
Yeah. Number 5 is lavender oil. And so kind of along with vetiver, this one just helps you sleep. It helps you relax. And I love diffusing this at night when I go to bed. I do use Serenity occasionally. Like Heather mentioned, that one also has lavender oil in it. But I like lavender alone even more. So I will just diffuse lavender, or sometimes if I'm feeling congested at bedtime, I will put lavender and breathe in the diffuser. And other times I'll do lavender and cedarwood in the diffuser, but those are kind of my go-tos. But in general, just lavender, it's relaxing. It helps you sleep. You don't feel like you've been drugged when you sleep with it, which is nice too. So it's just a really lovely oil.
So lavender gets used for that reason sometimes in our house, but my 7-year-old absolutely relies on lavender for all things skin. She's got a bug bite, she wants lavender. She's got an itchy spot, she wants lavender. She's got some sort of pain, she wants lavender. Like, the girl loves lavender and she knows where it's at and she gets it. And that is just an oil that gets used all the time at our house because of her, for sure.
I love that. And you made me think of something too when you said the girl loves lavender, because I know a lot of women who don't like the smell of lavender in commercial products. Like, they think it smells funky. And I have yet to meet somebody who didn't like the smell of lavender prior to doTERRA, not like doTERRA's. The smell is clean. It's a different type of smell. It's not that heavy smell. And so it really is a lovely lavender to have from a scent standpoint.
It is interesting how much that can vary from synthetic products to the pure essential oil, because it does smell very different than the lotions or whatever you would find with lavender in it. I agree.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Number 4 is Breathe. So I just spoke of how my daughter loved lavender so much. Breathe is my son's oil. This boy, I've never had him tested. I have no idea what makes him so congested in his sinuses, but every single morning he is all clogged up from the night before. He can be all day fine and then goes to bed and wakes up stuffy every single morning. And so his routine is he puts Breathe on before he goes to bed. He feels like it helps him sleep. He just rubs it right on his chest. We have the diluted one with the fractionated coconut oil in the roller. And then first thing in the morning, he puts it on again and he smells it right underneath his nose. And he recognizes that if he doesn't do that routine for a couple days in a row, he'll be more stuffy. And so just this morning, he said, "Oh, I think that I forgot to put it on for a couple days because I definitely woke up stuffy again." And then he went and smelled it. And within minutes, he said he started feeling better. So at some point, I probably should kind of find out what his allergen is. I personally think it's that he sleeps with too many stuffed animals on his bed, but that's another story. So Breathe has been wonderful for him to just feel like he can open up his airwaves and move on with his day.
Yeah, I love that. And I will say as well, doTERRA has a Breathe stick that's almost like a Vicks vapor rub stick, and it makes it so easy to apply. I love to apply that before working out. It just opens up my airways and makes it easier for me to breathe as I work out.
That's a good use.
So number 3 is On Guard, and just state of the world, the germs we're trying to avoid. On Guard has been an awesome oil. And I think even more so because we use it On Guard in so many different ways. So it's in our hand sanitizer. And if you haven't tried doTERRA's hand sanitizer, it's amazing. There are scientific studies that show how effective it is. It's 99 point blah, blah, blah. Some specific percent. It's like almost 100% effective at killing germs. But it's also smells good and it's moisturizing, which is really nice. But then we also realized like just how protected we are because it was in our foaming hand soap and it was in our counter cleaner and all these different things. And doTERRA does now have a new line, the Abode line, that does all of the house cleaning stuff. But I do think it helped protect us even more when we were just using On Guard stuff throughout the day without even realizing it. So I wasn't even using the On Guard oil necessarily every day. Definitely at the beginning of the pandemic, every time I left the house, I would put it somewhere on my body to give me a level of protection. But eventually I think like most people got a little lax in all of the protective things, but we still had this constant protection because it was all throughout our house and just our everyday uses.
Yeah, I agree. And thinking about those levels of protection that we take for granted too, like you said, the foaming hand wash, the spray cleaner. My kids only want to use the On Guard sanitizing mist. They do not like the gel sanitizers that the school wants them to use all the time. And so they keep one of the sanitizing mists in their backpack and they'll just pull it out. It says that it's an antiseptic right on the bottle. And so none of the teachers have argued with them about the efficacy of this versus their, chemical Latin gel sanitizer. Yeah. So they've let them use that. And my kids feel like they use that. They're clean. I trust it. They trust it. They like the way it feels. And so that is a staple in our house as well. And in regards to the oil, if I feel absolutely anything coming on, and this was pre-pandemic, I haven't necessarily luckily had to deal with this as much through these last 2 years. If I feel anything coming on, it usually starts with a scratchy throat for me. And so my habit is then to immediately take On Guard and just apply to both sides of my throat, over my lymph nodes. And I do that a couple of times a day. I like the diluted one just because then I don't have to dilute the oil. And then I start diffusing it around the house at the first sign of anything. And I feel like it really just kind of cuts down the time. If we do continue to feel bad, I feel like it just cuts down the time of how long we feel bad. And On Guard's a great product. Number 2, Adaptive. This one is definitely used a lot during the last 2 years with the pandemic, but it was a big one that I used before as well. Adaptive is the calming blend, and it does just that. I feel like if I am starting to get wound up and I'm about to be in a situation that is going to be overwhelming, I will apply Adaptive. They also have capsules, which I really like too. But the Adaptive line and the oil itself is great just to kind of take me down a notch and feel like I am not so overwhelmed and wound up and then have difficulty focusing because of being wound up.
Yeah, I love Adaptive too. And I know we have a whole podcast already out on Adaptive, but just a reminder, it helps you adapt to any type of situation. So it just like levels out the roller coaster of emotions, which is so nice and so helpful. Number 1, Lifelong Vitality. So this one actually is not an oil, but we both felt like this has been a life-changing product for us. And I don't think we're alone in this because this is actually doTERRA's number 1 selling product, which is interesting because it's not an oil and we're an essential oil company. But this is doTERRA's vitamin pack. So everyday multivitamin. It also has omegas in it. And then it has a supplement that actually helps your healthy cells regenerate and create energy as well. A really amazing supplement pack just to use every day. It's great for most people. Like most people, this has the basics of what they would need for just daily support. Unfortunately, the way our food is grown these days and even the way our ground and dirt has been deteriorated, you can't get all of the nutrients that you need out of food. Even if you eat a perfect diet and only do organic and all of that, you just can't get all of those supplements out of the ground anymore. So everybody needs to be on a good multivitamin, and this is the best one, in my opinion, for most people.
There's a great graphic that they will present at convention, and I've seen posted different places where it talks about if you were going to get all of the nutrients that are in Lifelong Vitality from actual food sources, and you were going to buy all of those food sources every single month, that it would cost something like $935 a month just to get all of the nutrients that are in Lifelong Vitality. And that is always absolutely amazing to me because we take stuff like that for granted. Lifelong vitality to me is not something that I think about every single day. I take it, it's a routine, but I never really think, oh, I feel great today because of lifelong vitality. What I do notice is that if I go a couple of days without taking lifelong vitality, all of a sudden I'm like, ugh, why do I feel crappy? I feel grumpy. I'm sluggish. Like, what is going on? Heather, you haven't taken the lifelong vitality in a couple of days. Start again and get right back to feeling better again. So I don't notice it when I'm taking it, but boy, do I notice it if I stop taking it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So in my nutrition business, I do gut testing. And part of that, in order to get a good read on your gut, is you do have to stop supplements for, depending on the type of supplement, anywhere for up to a month. And then some of them it's 2 weeks and some of them it's 3 days. But with lifelong vitality, I decided to stop it for 2 weeks before I did this gut test, just because I wanted to see what's really going on with my gut when I don't have the supplement in my system. And man, those 2 weeks were rough. And it's been over a month and I feel like I'm just now back to where I was. And part of that's not because I was also eating foods I don't normally eat to see how my body would react, but such a difference, and definitely a supplement I don't ever want to give up for that reason.
Same. And, you hear people talk of different things of the benefits that they get from it, everything from better skin and hair and nails to more energy. And again, I feel like I don't think about those things. I take them for granted on a daily basis, but it definitely makes my body and mood feel better when I am consistent with it. And so I feel good on it. I will stay on it.
Yeah. Yep. So that is our list of 10. We hope you guys have learned some new stuff. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Like, subscribe, and we also have our Instagram. So if you want to interact and tell us what your top 10 are, or just one of the things you think should have been on our list, we'd love to hear from you on there. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.